Guys, Monterey Car Week starts tomorrow, and I am so excited because it is my favorite week of the year. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, smash that subscribe button because the content this week is going to get absolutely ridiculous. In preparation for the drive up to Monterey, I got myself a new radar detector. Definitely going to need to hardwire it though because the center armrest can't close with the radar plugged in. Speaking of radars, I had the funniest cop interaction I have ever had in my life the other day in Beverly Hills. A cop rolls up next to me on Rodeo Drive and goes, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "What? I'm Parker. Who are you?" And he goes, "I'm a cop." I'm like, obviously. And what happened next is absolutely unbelievable. Check out this video.
Hey, let's start again. Hey, so who are you?
I'm Parker from Vehicle Virgin's YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. How many subscribers do you have?
2.1 million.
2.1 million? Take that, Damon. 2.1 million.
Shout out to that cop, super chill, and shout out to Daily Driven Exotics. I'm actually going on DDE's rally on the way up to Monterey, which should be insane. Shmee150 is actually staying at my house right now. It has been an absolute blast hanging out, talking cars. He's getting a new exhaust for his Ford GT, which should sound absolutely epic. He should be here soon. We're gonna go for a little blast through the canyons. But before we head out on the drive, I want to talk about watches. A nice watch does more than just tell time. It completes your outfit and makes a statement. I get asked all the time, what is a high quality watch that looks good, is classy, and doesn't break the bank? And my answer time and time again is Vincero. For under $200, you're getting an insanely high quality timepiece that looks good and turns heads. Their manufacturing process is on par with watches that cost 5 to 10 times as much. So if you're looking to elevate your game at a great price, Vincero is the watch for you. Vincero makes some gorgeous looking watches, and why tell you when I can simply show you? They've just come out with some new designs that look absolutely fantastic. The best part is, for their 5th anniversary, they are having the largest site-wide sale of all time. Things are gonna sell out fast, so after this video is over, click the link in the description below and pick yourself up a Vincero watch. Seriously, this is the best deal you're ever going to get on these watches, and I highly recommend one. All right, on to the video. Shmee is on the way back from Galpin right now. I figured I'd get this car cleaned so it looks nice and shiny for Car Week. I just passed 3,000 miles in the Mclaren. Check this out. Man, it has been an incredible past 3,000 miles in this car. I am so excited for Car Week, guys. The energy in all of Monterey that exists with the tens of thousands of car enthusiasts, it just has the best vibe for the week. And seeing all these insane cars cruising around on the streets, that's honestly the best part. You don't have to spend a single dollar at Monterey Car Week to have an absolute blast. Seeing a 250 GTO driving down the street, seeing a street parked F40, random Koenigseggs ripping around, Horatio Pagani driving his own personal Pagani. There's stuff that you get to see that you can't see anywhere else. I'm not gonna lie, I know it's a little sacrilegious and detailers will absolutely hate this, but this drive-through car wash for $7 where nothing actually touches your car is pretty prime. Shmee is on the way. Woo! Here we go. Just please don't hit my Mclaren, please. Not gonna lie, the first pass that arm makes around the car is a little bit scary because you're not positive if it's gonna malfunction and smash into the car, but hasn't yet. Back home we go. So as I mentioned, I just recently put a new radar detector in the Mclaren, a Passport Max 360, which I absolutely love. And for the first time, I actually downloaded the app associated with the detector so I could eliminate practically all false alarms. And it hasn't gone off a single time when there hasn't been a cop, so I'm freaking stoked about it. Here he comes up the driveway. Wow, that is spectacular. How's it going? Good. Your car sounds insane. Woo! So, you just got back from installing a new exhaust. What exactly did you do?
So I sent my car around the world just because I wanted to get in a Krapovich exhaust. No, I'm kidding.
That would be a Shmee thing to do.
That would be. So the Euro-Spec exhausts are really quiet because our mufflers have to have these baffles in them and basically regulations and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to bore you with all of that. Your US ones are significantly better. So given that I had the standard UK European one and there was an upgrade, a Krapovich European one, and then you've got like the two American ones, the standard and the sport, which are both better than our good one. It was like, let's go the full hog. So I've gone from the quietest to the highest, noisiest OEM exhaust you can get.
And it sounds unbelievable.
Much better.
He did an acceleration pull quite far away from my house, and I heard it the entire time, so I was ready to film him come up the driveway.
Yeah.
I do have to say, your car in person looks absolutely breathtaking. Pictures do not do it justice. I know it definitely seemed to be somewhat of a controversial color scheme, just because nobody had done anything like it.
Do you know the backstory behind the color scheme?
Well, I have watched your video, so I do, but for people who don't know, what is the reasoning?
The backstory behind it's literally, you know, if you got a hot dog or a burger, it's ketchup and mustard. Okay, more seriously, it is a tribute colour scheme to a 1960s Ford GT40 race team from the UK. They actually used to have a certain one, Bruce Mclaren, racing in their GT40s in red and gold liveries. Other drivers as well, Jackie Stewart, Jackie X, I'm sure you know some of these guys.
Yep.
So I kind of thought it would be fun to give it a reason, give it a story. It's a very special car. And I actually got in touch with Alan Mann Racing, which is now run by the late Alan Mann's sons, and said I'd like to do this. And they very kindly actually provided me a kind of pot of the touch-up paint that they use in the Heritage GT40s for the gold stripes. So Ford literally paint matched that to the 1960s GT40s.
So you've kind of created your own bespoke Heritage edition.
It is, and the same with the interior as well. You can just see the kind of flashes. The shift paddles painted in gold.
Yeah, the paddles are gorgeous. You've got new seats.
The stitching on the seats done by Sparco. So it is literally my own kind of heritage. I don't know how better to call it.
And I'm guessing the 66 is for 1966 victory of the GT40?
The first time that Ford beat Ferrari at Le Mans. The first of the 4 consecutive years they won. And of course in 2016, the race car went back 50 years later and it won again. And you know what? I love having the American supercar here in America.
It's actually awesome to see this car over here, especially at my house.
It's 6,000 miles from home.
Yeah, wow.
That
like, puts it into perspective.
That's like a long, long way.
So what do you say? We hop in this and go for a little drive?
Yeah, you doing the honors?
Thank you very much. Oh, no, maybe?
Yeah, you can.
Yes, let's go. Just hopped inside the GT. I do have to say, these gold paddles look absolutely gorgeous. The interior of this thing is pretty unbelievable.
It's also very snug.
It is very, we are very close together, so this is going to be a romantic review for sure. You were saying the other day that many of the switchgear components are straight from the Ford parts bin, like in a Mustang, intentionally.
Look at the door controls. Just have a spin around to those. The mirror controls and window switches.
That does look very familiar.
Yeah, the kind of rules for the car, for the designers of the interior, were literally to keep it Ford consistent. So you've got the infotainment, which is their normal sync system. It's not on right now. But basically everything to do with buttons is normal, except for this.
Yes, this steering wheel is actually fantastic.
The thing with the steering wheel is that a lot of people think in photos that the GT interior doesn't look as premium as it should be. But when you're sitting inside it, it's so much, it just makes so much more sense. All of these different parts, the exposed carbon you have absolutely everywhere. I like to call this the kind of storage space for your dirty laundry if you're on a road trip.
Yeah, wow.
There's literally no other room anywhere other than here. That's basically your only storage in the entire car. No glove box. Look at this though. Do you know about these? Do you know about the cup holders here?
No, I've never seen that before.
You can just see those. Oh, I've missed the bottom one. Comes out from that side. 2 cup holders.
Cup holders in a Ford GT. Look at that.
Most people don't realise they're there. And as we discovered, there's a 12-volt socket here. I didn't know about that until the other day either.
Yeah, Shmee has gone full American with the radar install. Yeah, I'm so proud. All right, let's fire it up.
Oh, that sounds better. I'm still at that stage of new exhaust.
Absolutely.
And it sounds so much better.
All right, right from the get-go, this sounds amazing.
Isn't it incredible how a V6 can actually sound this good?
I feel like, yeah, the car got so much flack when it came out for the V6, but it actually sounds incredible.
Yeah, and I'm just beaming because obviously I've not really taken in the sound inside yet. I mean, I've driven about 15 miles since the exhaust was installed.
So I've only driven a Ford GT one other time. It was a 2018 Heritage Ford GT. And so this is a very, very special opportunity. I'm seriously grateful that you're allowing me to drive this. So if you guys haven't subscribed to Shmee150 already, I've got a link in the description. Make sure to do so. You and Supercars of London were the first two automotive YouTube channels I ever watched, probably 9-10 years ago.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it?
And when you got, what'd you get first, an R8?
Yeah, I had a V8 Vantage, the V8 Vantage Roadster, and then the R8.
I think it was when you got the R8 and then Paul got an R8, where I was like, whoa, is YouTube some sort of viable career path opportunity? And here we are 8-9 years later, sitting in your car in America. It's pretty unbelievable.
And you know, literally, by the way, in terms of driving this car on the road, other than like bored people and people working on the car and whatnot, myself and my dad and now you are the only people who've driven this car.
That's amazing. So you've got a pretty good feel for the car at this point, I would imagine.
I mean, I've done a decent amount of driving, but it's done a lot of things, even in those miles.
Yeah.
Because I did a full day at Silverstone, it's been around the Nürburgring, it's been to Sardinia in Italy, it's been to Monaco, of course it went down the East Coast, New York, past Road Atlanta to Miami, and now here we are in California.
That is unbelievable.
So 3,000 miles, but it's probably traveled about 15,000 miles in terms of all the trucks and flights and things.
So what do you think are some of your favorite parts about the car so far?
So the thing I like the most is the story behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, as we were saying, the fact that it was built for a purpose, to go to Le Mans again in 2016 to race and to win, and then to be the closest kind of road car to a race car. And you probably experienced that with the steering feel. Like a McLaren, the front end is really dialed in, and it's got a lot of racing feel to it.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite part of the entire car is, unless you drive it, there's no way to really convey how raw this car is.
Yeah.
And yeah, people can say, well, for 500 or 600,000, and then of course the used prices are who knows how much. I'm sure you're more in tune with that than I am, but million plus. Oh, it only has 647 horsepower and it weighs 3,350 pounds. That seems overpriced. But when you actually drive the car, it feels phenomenal.
And remember, so much of it is the technology of the suspension system. I mean, you've seen it as it drops into track mode before.
That is one of the coolest things of all time.
You're basically paying for this incredibly well-engineered suspension system. In this mode, in sport on the road, it's kind of like your McLaren. It's a hydraulic system, works very well, it dampens the car nicely. It also has the ability to give you very good dynamic control as well. When you pop it into track, you've then got the full kind of rose joint style race car suspension system with these control arms that connect right the way to the center of the car. It's a full, like, proper flat driving experience.
And did Multimatic do the suspension as well?
Yeah, Multimatic. I mean, they built the whole car. They actually put the whole car together, and they created that side of things. So the main thing I love about it is this story, but I also love how it looks.
It looks so good.
It punches so high. It's as you say, list price is 500, 600,000 US. But for that price, there's no other car that looks in this category. This can sit alongside your Bugattis and your Paganis.
No, absolutely. And the flying buttresses, the rear end, the massive wing, every angle of this car actually is
the height
unbelievable.
Of it. It's the proportions.
And it's slammed to the ground,
Yet it's only, if you drop it to track mode, I think it's 40.5 inches.
Oh wow, so they've
really
still
low.
stuck to the
really low.
original GT40.
Of course, it adds 2 inches when you're back in the normal mode, but maybe it's 41. It's about that. It's really, really low.
Have you had anything that you don't like about the car at 3,000 miles?
It's very big. It's very wide.
It does feel pretty wide.
Which you notice much more in Europe than you do out here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a Ventador size and a bit longer. Also, the complete impracticality. I'm doing this kind of road trip, except I'm doing a road trip where there's no luggage space. The only luggage space is a kind of trunk back there that's big enough for your wash bag and like one spare t-shirt.
So is there nothing in the front anymore?
All radiators up front.
Okay, wow.
No luggage space there. So there's one little trunk behind the engine, and because it's behind the engine, if you do any kind of driving there, even if you're like, even metal is melted. You know,
wow.
You don't want to touch anything that's been inside there. So you're literally kind of limited to what you can put around your feet, which is why I joke about the dirty laundry going up here on the dashboard.
You should have seen when he showed up at my house yesterday with all of his belongings. It was like half the car disappeared with just stuff.
Yeah, everything from the middle up to kind of shoulder height stuff. So it's not a great road trip car, which is slightly ironic in terms of what it is, because it's an out and out race car, right? Dynamically, in terms of what it was introduced for, yet the seats are quite soft.
They're really comfortable.
The suspension is kind of cushy.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually shocked about the seats. The bolstering feels like it holds you in a different place than most cars.
Yeah,
it's kind of closer in on your back.
It holds you well,
but it's really
cushy.
comfortable. And the bolsters aren't massive. The only complaint I have with the Senna seats in my car is they're very supportive. I actually think they're comfortable over long distance, but getting in and out of them is quite difficult.
Yeah, the sides are so high and narrow.
Exactly.
You can't sit on them, you can't slide over them, you kind of catch your clothes on them.
Versus these are super easy to get in and out of.
You side, because the seat is the same height as the side sill, so you're just gonna slide over it. Yeah. So I mean, overall, yeah, there are these kind of funny quirks, but then it's so unique, and it's a bit, I think, Lamborghini-esque in the sense of who cares? You know, it is what it is, and it's such a cool thing, and it looks so nice, and it makes you feel so good when you're driving it that you just kind of get on with it.
Yeah, I think the practicality aspect is to be expected of a car of this caliber.
Do you know one other thing I really like? One other thing I really like is come to a stop. Come to a complete stop. Nothing behind us. Foot on the brake. Yeah, just do it. Throttle and brake, that's it. You don't have to press any buttons.
Easiest to activate launch control of all time.
Literally, that's all you...
Oh, no wonder you did it right outside my house.
There's no...
Unbelievably easy to do.
There's no scripting, there's no having to plan anything. You literally just brake, accelerate, go. That's it.
All right, I think we got to do one more launch.
Yeah, go for it. I'm going to hold my sunglasses this time, though, because they kind of flew off.
Wow.
Even for me,
oh,
it's cool.
It sounds so good, dude.
Start to hear more of the turbos as well.
Yeah.
They flutter a bit.
And you were saying with this new exhaust, it almost feels like the downshifts are more crisp than before, and
much more. They just seem to allow the engine to I don't kind of how to describe it. It just happens faster and more clean.
Wow, the steering feel on this is awesome.
It is, isn't it?
It takes very little actuation of the steering wheel to have really tight radius turn. And I love
the shift lights.
The shift lights. I don't know how I forgot about those. On the last time I drove it, I instantly hopped in and went, oh, is that aftermarket? But
no, from factory.
The dash almost reminds me of a LaFerrari in a bit.
Yeah, I get that as well.
Which is definitely not an insult.
No. There are actually a few similarities. You know, seats bolted to the tub, adjustable pedal box, lots of steering wheel controls. So Ford and Ferrari, they might have got at it in 1966 and again in 2016, but there are some similarities in style and ethos and configuration.
And the boost comes on like so linearly, it actually almost doesn't feel like it's twin turbo.
No, it's incredible the way the power is delivered. It really is. I mean, there's obviously been a lot of talk about the engine because so many people joke about how the base of it is the same as an F-150 Raptor.
Yeah.
The 3.5 litre V6 EcoBoost engine. But the reality is the way it drives is supercar. The engine is what it should be in this kind of car. And I'm just enjoying listening to you, the sounds of it while you drive and taking you in a passenger ride. This is the most sportily I've ever been driven in the car for sure. My dad might have driven it, but not like this.
Well, I'm taking it easy because I'm obviously familiar with the value of the car, and also it's not my car, so it doesn't really matter how much it is.
So long as you have fun.
Respect it.
I'm happy if you're having fun.
Well, thank you so much for letting me drive this car. It's unbelievable. The visceral experience driving this, how great the steering feels, the noise that it makes, the suspension setup is absolutely on another level. It feels more like a hypercar than a supercar.
I think in some ways, I'm not going to be one who pushes it to being hypercar category.
Sure.
This is something I think it gets talked about a lot because I don't think it's quite quick enough.
Yeah,
but
I'll agree with that.
It's on that fringe. It's on that fringe. It's the top end of supercar. Top end of supercar. And it's such a special thing. You know, this is it the American supercar? Can we say that? You know, it's
absolutely, yeah.
Like, okay, I got C8 Corvettes, you had ZR1s, but this is America in terms of supercars at its best. And what an effort it is. It's a phenomenal thing.
Freaking amazing. That was an incredible drive. Wow, just looking into the camera lens right now, the screen, seeing this car in the background, it looks so freaking epic. So now we're gonna go for a ride in the 600 LT. Shmee's driven a million of these. I don't even know why he wants to drive my car, but
I've never driven one with a scoop.
okay, all right, fair enough.
I'm looking forward to hearing the like sucking of air noise over the head.
It is. It's a nice experience.
Yeah.
The sucking of air. Here's the key.
Oh, yes please, yes please. Thank you.
Key not found.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope it is found. I do have to slide the seat back though to get in. This is.
Yeah, look at the vehicle version seating position.
I literally don't know how you managed to climb in there. Key was found. I tell you what, every time I drive a 600 LT, I love it. It's such a cool car, and immediately you get that feel as well in this. Your baby Mac, I think we can call it baby Mac, is still a very like big grown-up car.
It's the poor man's Senna.
It's really not though. It's a proper weapon. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like the suck noise followed by the bang behind. That's a really cool combo.
Yeah, if you floor it in like third gear, the higher gears, it seems like you can hear the roof scoop more because there's a little less engine noise. So you obviously have a Senna with Senna seats. I've got the baby version with Senna seats.
But they're not the same seats because yours are the touring ones and mine are the thinner sized ones.
Gotcha. But they are the same if I had the
Yeah, they are very, very
size
firm and solid.
One thing we did figure out the other day was the harness mounts in a different spot
They do.
with the 600 LT and the Senna. I find that kind of interesting.
It is. They kind of have the same seat, but it's a different setup in the way it all works. I love the shifts in this. Just the thing about the McLaren. At this point, the last time I drove a McLaren was a month or so ago. But the instant familiarity with it, and the way it's all set up and the way it all comes, I love it. Every time you remotely lift off the throttle, you get that noise.
It's unbelievable.
It's better in here than in the 675 generation. The sound that you get from the top.
Yeah, no, I agree. The P1's probably more.
Yeah, the P1's
noise,
very
right?
different sound,
Yeah.
much more turbo as well, much more the kind of swooshes.
But like you were saying, on roads like this, which obviously is by my house and I go all the time, because it's tighter and this car is so small and lightweight, it's like the perfect car. This and the GT3 RS for these roads.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But I'm also curious, the Ford has a bit more power, 47, well, I guess 50 more horsepower, but it weighs a little bit more. I bet these are pretty close in terms of straight line performance.
I would think so. In a straight line, they're both kind of aero cars, so they lose a little bit in a straight line because of that. We might have to race them somewhere.
That would be a fun idea. I just love the steering feel on this car.
The Ford GT is very similar to the 600 LT in the steering feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, in fact, to every McLaren, it's just very dialed in at the front end. See a lot of feedback, very easy to pinpoint. Just as we head uphill towards the sunshine, I'm kind of blinded.
How have you liked the Senna so far? Obviously, there was that unfortunate mishap, but apart from that...
No, I tell you what, the Senna, it's a horrible car on a road like this. This road in the Senna, you would want to get out. You'd be done.
Suspension is too tight.
Too firm, too noisy, too aggressive, too over the top, and this is just too bumpy. It doesn't work. However, when you have the Senna on a racetrack, the ability, and you've driven it, so you know, the ability to make minute, on the edge adjustments, to adjust the throttle back off slightly, let the front just lift up a touch, and then get the grip again. The ability to continue braking when you think you've outbroke
the brakes
yourself.
are the most impressive thing I've ever experienced in that car.
Do you have a look of panic on your face?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And this is my first time being passenger in my car.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, this is... I feel like once you find somebody that you trust and will respect and take care of your car, it's a different feeling. Obviously, you drive everything and you're cautious and just let me drive your car. But I've always wanted to sit shotgun in the car.
You get a different feel. For
Absolutely.
your own car.
And I always feel like the acceleration feels more extreme from the passenger seat because you're not holding onto a wheel and you don't know exactly when it's going to happen.
You're not in control of when it stops.
That's true too.
The whole roller coaster style. Like how long are you going to keep accelerating for? In these cars, you only need a matter of seconds, and you're going some ridiculous speed as well.
Yeah. So what mode on the street do you drive the Senna in?
Same as this. Sport and Sport.
Gotcha.
ESC Dynamic.
Because I found that despite the fact that I like the dash look better in track mode, I prefer the way the car feels in sport mode. The shifts bang harder. They kind of kick you in the back on upshifts more.
Yeah, sport is just the way it's configured in these cars and everything these days, Lambos, McLarens, whatever you name it. It's not about maximum speed, it's about maximum enjoyment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sport mode is always now being set up as a road mode, so sometimes more burbles, more kick, pops and bangs, more exhaust noises, more general kind of liveliness out of the car. Tight job, isn't it? Even this thing is just so quick.
Well, man, thank you so much again for letting me drive your car. I hope you enjoyed the 600 LT.
Always.
I am so excited for Monterey Car Week. This is like my favorite week of the year, every single year. How many years have you gone in a row?
This is only my 3rd time going.
Oh, no way.
Only.
I was starting to think back how many times I've been. I think it might be my 10th year.
Really?
Yeah, I've been going
That's
since
like me
high
with
school.
Goodwood.
Yeah.
Like never missing one.
No, it's freaking awesome.
Wow.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe to Shmee150 if you haven't already, and subscribe to me as well if this is your first time watching the channel. The content is going to get absolutely insane. Doing a rally tomorrow up to Monterey, and then the events are about to be wild. I can't wait to take the McLaren on its first ever road trip. Look forward to seeing you guys next video.